Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage, and today we got another 68 Charger episode, so follow me along through that intro, and I'll be back. So guys, it has been a week since our last video. So I have been busy in the background. I have got the rear brakes on the car already. New rear drums, wheel cylinders, brake shoes, hardware, self-adjusters, the whole 9 yards. Had to end up making brake lines on the rear axle. So I moved along to the front, so I'll flip around and I'll show you where we're at. So we left the rear video off, we're getting leaf springs and shocks in it. So I went ahead and put new brake drums, brake shoes, hardware, wheel cylinders, like I said. Also went ahead and replaced all 10 wheel studs in the rear with ones that are a little bit longer than factory. And up here in the front, I have started taking the drum brakes apart to get rid of those and get the sway bar end links off, because I got to take the backing plate bolts out. So those had to come off, and they're getting replaced anyway, along with the sway bar bushings up here on the K member, along with those front shocks. Believe it or not, the control arm bushings, top and bottom, are good and tight. It's so are the ball joints. So hopefully they'll come back to life pretty nicely. And what I got here is a lead disc brake conversion. These are usually pretty nice kits and usually go on without a whole lot of drama. So that's what we're going to get put on today. I'm just going to kind of bring y'all along with some time-lapse stuff and any kind of updates that are special to doing this. And we'll go from there. So, like I asked before, another video, let me know down in the comments below, hey, what kind of, series you want to see on this car. You want to see a full comprehensive install on this stuff, or do you want to see, just updates as we go along? Because we got a lot of ground to cover and a little time to do it. So, let's get started. Well, that was fun. The lower spindle bolts, or I say spindle bolts, the ones that hold the ball joint and the spindle together with the backing plate, those things were quite seized into it. So I finally got those out, and we got our bracket on here. So I'm going to flip it around and show it to you. We'll go from there. So I kind of wire brushed and sprayed some of the crusty things temporarily. Got our caliper bracket mounted. They provide a new front spindle bolt right here. Had reused the old one in a rearward position. So got it tightened up. Still need to put a little cotter pin in it. And they send this spacer for spindle. The spacer roller out for the caliper. So your bearing and stuff sits up against this, and your seal rides on this surface. So let's see if we can get this thing the rest of the way together. I got the bearings packed over there. So let's see how it goes together. Got the rotor, the caliper, brake pads, and brake hose on there. I lost a little time-lapse clip somewhere in between, but you want to make sure this stuff spins good and free. Anytime you install one of these disc brake kits, make sure you read your instructions. Like these, they have a little spacer right there behind the caliper bolt, so you got to make sure that's in there. I know it's not factory stuff, guys, but these kits are actually pretty nice. They go on pretty simple. Pretty much, other than fighting with rusty bolts and crusty stuff, it wouldn't take that long to actually get that one side on there. So now, we need to get the other side done so we can get the shocks on it and sway bar on. So let's get busy. Well guys, it's the next day and I got all this brake stuff on there behind me. So let me flip it around, I'll show it all to you, and we'll go from there. I had a whole time lapse clip of me putting all this together, but I didn't turn the camera on. So we lost that footage, but all this brake stuff's on it. I put new sway bar end links on it. I've got the new shocks on the car. I came in here this morning and done that. We need to replace these sway bar bushings because I don't know if you can see, but you can see light through them. They're shot. So I had got this Energy suspension kit put on it right here. It changes the style of the sway bar end links a little bit, but these are a greasable polyurethane bushing. They should last quite a bit longer. And another cool thing I found was these old Western Auto shocks that were on the front of this car. Don't look like they're so tough anymore. They're completely dead, but they're a pretty cool little piece of history. And this one looks like it's bent pretty good, so hopefully the new gas charged ones will make a big difference. And Daisy has somehow made her way up there to the top of that fender. So let me get her down and then I'll be back. Did you find any rats or anything? Daisy'd like to remind you about her shirts and our merchandise store, so make sure you check that out, guys. So let's get these sway bar links on there. Not links, but sway bar bushings on there, and we'll go from there. Well, here's probably one of those good spots for one of those helpful tips. Alright, so on this kit, two of the bolt holes line up across from each other right here. You have to drill this one through the K-member. You can't really get your hand up in here with the front end together to get this bolt in there, so I'll just take something like this little magnet right here and I'll set the bolt in the washer kind of in the hole, and then I'll use the magnet to grab the other end of it as I kind of walk it around in here. And generally this works pretty well. It's still a little fiddly to do it this way, and it may take you a few tries, but without taking this strut rod completely out right here, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to fish this little fella up in there. And a lot of you may be wondering, well, why didn't you just... Well, it popped in without the magnet, but the magnet trick works too. You can get it started up in there, and you can grab the end of that bolt and use your finger to manipulate it, pull it through. But this gets rid of that old welded style sway bar link, or a sway bar bushing that these cars have from the factory, where you can't physically change the bushings easily without taking the sway bar off and replacing the entire assembly. This gives us a greasable, replaceable normal sway bar bushing, and all we had to do was drill one hole. Otherwise than that, it bolted up. You're going to have another bolt hole in this bracket. It's just going to float out here in nowhere. So fun stuff. Got stuff all over my face. Don't really care. So while filming that list clip, I cut this out of the video for you guys, but my phone fell over on the phone stand, and once again it has exploded. Hopefully it does not affect the video quality for you guys. Unfortunately, I cannot afford to replace this thing every 2 or 3 months when trying to do this kind of content, and then the phone gets destroyed. So I'm gonna have to figure something out there. So at this point, all the suspension stuff's wrapped up. The brakes still need to be bled, obviously. I've still got to put a brake booster and my cylinder on it. But at this point, I think we're good to grease all the front end on it. The upper and lower ball joints, you know, all the steering linkage, all that good stuff. These new sway bar end links, sway bar bushings, and so on and forth. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back. So alright guys, it's a couple days later, and I never did come back from that last clip. The whole breaking the phone thing has kind of got me bummed out. It's still broke currently, and I know you can't see it on your side, but my whole screen is shattered, so I can't see what I'm filming at this point. But in the background, I went ahead and finished up the brake stuff. I got the front end greased in the car. I've unpacked some more stuff that we need to put on this thing. I've got the brake booster and my cylinder on it, and some new brake lines run down to the splitter block. And it's been an adventure. So let me just flip it around and I'll show you where we're at. And we'll talk about some other things too. So, got the new disc brake mass cylinder, power brake booster, the adapter bracket, and all that mess in this car. I'll tell you this, if you already have a drum brake B-body car, don't bother getting this whole kit. Just get you a disc brake mass cylinder and bolt to your factory booster, because I had this thing on and off no more than about 6 times in total. You have to modify the factory firewall plate. You have to remove the bell crank linkage under the floor at the pedal. And then you have to, you know, tuss around with all that stuff down in there. And Daisy's really wanting to be on camera today. But I got it on there. And I got brake fluid down to the wheels where they need to be. So I didn't cover none of that in the video. Like I said, I've been kind of disheartened over this whole phone situation, because a lot of you don't know this stuff. When I say budget, I mean it's budget, guys, because that's just the way it is. Meaning that I don't have a whole lot of money to drop in anything. So hence why everything that's my personal stuff is generally on the cheaper side, and maybe some people don't quite like it so much. But that's the cards that we're dealt in life. Sometimes you just got to work with what you get. So let me flip it around. I'll show you what we need to do next. We'll go from there. So I've got a table full of stuff. Transmission kickdown cable kit, alternator, spark plug wires, water pump, fuel pump, heater hoses, radiator hoses, tune-up things, transmission filter, you know, battery cables, spark plugs, whole 9. Because old car. I've also got a brand new aluminum radiator over in the box, a 26-inch radiator, so that will go in here. We got a new gas tank over in the corner that I'm currently waiting on fuel lines for. And we have changed the wheel setup a little bit. We went to a torque thrust wheel, and he wanted a little wider wheel on the front, so we ended up putting a 8.5-inch wheel on the front. I raised the car up just a little bit. We still have a 4.5-inch rake, so we still got that 70s look. But instead of like the 70s drag car hot rod look, we went to more of a 70s street freak look with the front. And in the rear back here, we got a 15x10 again with a 29x15 Mickey Thompson radial on it. It is sitting on the ground, and I know it's hard to see in here. But I tried to keep that 70s hot rod stance that we had going. So some people may not like wheel change. I personally kind of like it because it fills up front wheel well in it. Where before the wheels were sunk literally like a foot inside the wheel well. It needs a new set of wheels anyway. Them old Krager SS's are in pretty poor condition. And the tires are antiques on it. So generally, on a 70s style build, you want to stay on the positive side of a 3.5-inch rake. Meaning there's a 3.5-inch height difference between front and rear. The way I've got this car set up right now, it's about a 4.5-inch rake, where before it was about 6.5 inches. So it'll make it a little nicer to drive. In hindsight, it won't be so, you know, you feel like you're going to fall out of seat forward. So hopefully it'll be a good driving car for him. So guys, this is probably where I will leave this video off. This one's going to be quite a bit shorter than others. But I really need to revisit this phone situation, get this straightened out so I can make y'all a little better video for the next one. So if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video, share them with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button because it helps me bring you more content and replace these phones every, 3 to 6 months when they break. If you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys, and I look forward to everybody's comments down below. So, until the next video, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you at the next one.